Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here, welcome back to the channel for an update on Solana. So there's a couple of warning signs that I did want to run through with you. We're going to start off on the Solana US dollar pair and then also talk about how Solana is performing and is it losing market share against Bitcoin, Ethereum and also Polygon MATIC. So let's dive right into this, starting off on the Sol USD analysis. Now we previously made a video on this about 8 days ago, maybe a week ago, talking about how we were looking to line up a trade on the 786 Fibonacci round about $25 to $26. Now, I was away from the markets when this did come up to the upside, so I haven't actually entered a trade on this, although this would have been a nice entry. At this moment in time, I'm only currently trading Cardano, but nonetheless, you can see Solana has come down to pretty much one of its last support lines. Now, if we take a Fibonacci swing high from this high up here, it's basically $26.86, draw it down to the swing low, you can see that quite recently, coming back over, no, we are on the regular candlesticks, coming over to the 4 hour, you can see that we are retesting from underneath this 0.618 Fibonacci level. Now, things are looking pretty bearish. It also does look like this is something reminiscent of a bear flag playing out at this moment in time. Now, really, your last line in the sand to hold for Solana is going to be at this $23.25 level. Now, you might be wondering, hey, why is the last line in the sand not when you draw a Fibonacci from the swing low up to the swing high? Well, you can draw this, but if we do lose this Fibonacci round about the 23 level that we just mentioned, your next support line starts coming in at the 0.5 Fibonacci. That's a 25% drop. Your next support line comes in at the 0.618 Fibonacci. That's a 35% drop. If we come over to the weekly time frame, you can see round about this huge volume profile. We do also have more support down here, but this is about a 36% drop. The next support level to the downside from there is your 786 Fibonacci, which is a 48% drop. So even if you're taking the most conservative macro fib, it would be a 25% drop down to $17.68. So at least in the lower time frames, it's very arguable that if we start losing $23.25, that was your last line in the sand. So you really wouldn't want to see Solana lose that. And another reason why I'm not really saying your last line in the sand is down here is because if we do look at this, you can see a huge run to the upside, a huge amount of spikes, which is very reminiscent of a BART pattern with a price target all the way down here at the lows of $8, which is why I'm personally not looking at this higher time frame fib and saying, hey, it's likely that we're going to come down to a 786 and then that's just going to be it and we're going to move back up to the upside. I think if we start coming down to this 618, this BART pattern is going to be very solid for a move back down to $8. So in terms of the lower time frames, that is pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Also, if we do come over to the weekly, like we previously discussed in the most recent videos, not too much to update in the higher time frames, of course. If we get rid of these Fibonacci's, you can see to the left side of the screen, we are sitting in a huge area where there's a lot of volume right now. And we've got rejected from this once, we pushed up, had a candle wick, and if we are going to be putting in another candle body close here, beneath, $26.17, this is going to start looking like an M pattern in the lower time frames. Of course, you can see the spikiness, and even on the weekly, this is looking like a BART pattern, in my opinion, with once again a price target all the way down at $8, probably going to push us down into new lows at this moment in time. Now, if we do come over to some of the moving averages, EMA ribbons and the bull market support bands, let's clear up everything apart from these two indicators. Now, bull market support bands, let's start off on these. We have momentarily pushed above these and we are looking like we're falling back down below the short-term moving average of the bull market support bands. We're basically sitting on it right now. There's only been a few times in this bear market slash top of the bull market that we've been above here. The all-time high was just above the bull market support bands. We broke beneath it. We then had a macro lower high. We pushed it above the bull market support bands and absolutely melted through the floorboards since then. Now, we did also have a touch point in the bull market support bands at $39, but this is the first time since, all the way back when Solana was at $140 that we have reverted to above the bull market support bands. And if we look at the EMA ribbons, let's get rid of all of the ones we don't need. Personally, I only load in the EMA ribbons and I only look at the 21 and the 55. I don't really need to see every other moving average in the middle of these, but with this you can see that we are reverting back into the short-term moving average. And on the so let's set this to, let's just zoom in on the weekly. So on the weekly, you can see, if we do zoom in, looking at the EMA ribbons, we are kind of getting some strong resistance at this short-term moving average right now. So if we pair these two, if we look at what is going on with the bull market support bands, because this is pretty much the same as the EMA ribbons, which we've just been rejected from on the short-term moving average. If we now load in our oscillators on the weekly time frame, while we are getting rejected from these moving averages, you can see that the squeeze momentum indicator is perfectly flat, indicative that we've reset all bearish momentum. So currently, bulls aren't in control, bears aren't in control, but we're in a bear market. And the last time this happened, we completely reset momentum right here after this, you know, long sideways chop phase. We've just reset momentum this way by having a rally instead of a long sideways chop. But when we reset momentum over here, price was at around about $38. We reset momentum on the squeeze momentum indicator and absolutely collapsed to the downside. Over on the money flow index, you can see it doesn't look like this is going to be a linear downtrend, although there was a touch point over here. You can still see from the top, lower high, and breaking out of this trend line is not a bullish sign. The MFI is basically the RSI, but it also takes into account volume over extensions in the market. So right now, the MFI is approaching 80 on the weekly time frame, indicative that we are extremely overbought. And you can see previous tops in the MFI. Bear in mind, this was a top in a bull market, but still we went from, you know, $60 down to $20. That was a huge move. You can see this top over in the MFI over here was a move from 220 down to 118. So while this doesn't look like a big move, this was a huge crash. And then you can see finally the MFI topped out over here on the exact high. We were only clocking in at around about 73 when the MFI topped out before rolling over, and right now we're at 76. So we're extremely overextended for liquidity conditions right now. And you can also see, you know, you can look at this as well, you know, top in the stock, top in the price action, top in the stock, top in the price action. Well, at least a, you know, 50% move or so. Top in the stock, huge meltdown to the downside. Top in the stock, huge melt to the downside. And right now, once again, for the first time since Solana was trading at around about $180, $175. Bear in mind, I'm not looking at the exact wick up here. I'm really looking at roundabout where this crossed, and that was pretty much like, what, $180. We are as overextended as we are right now at $25 as we were at $180. The stochastic RSI is extremely oversold, and while we have had a temporary bullish cross on the weekly time frame, it's looking like we've got a lot of room to move back down to the downside, and the daily time frame is telling us that this bearish move is already starting while we are flipping bearish. Pair this with the fact that we're getting rejected from the bull market support bands. Pair this with the fact that the daily time frame Fibonacci candles have started to flip to the downside. You can also see, just looking at the regular candle bodies in the first place, we're running out of a lot of steam right now. And once again, you know, a lot of signals like the bull market support bands and EMA ribbons are telling us that we're losing these final areas of support right now. So once again, coming back over to our first chart, yes, this level is pretty much your last line in the sand. Your 0.5 Fibonacci at $23.25. If we lose this, bear in mind, once again, you can say, hey, we've got another line in the sand all the way down here, but that is a 25% move from where we are. So even if you're still bullish, a move down to $17.60 is not going to be very fun. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about for Solana. Obviously, if you have been watching the channel, my macro bear market price targets are unchanged. I am a big fan of Solana. My profile pic on YouTube is a Solana NFT. I am very much behind this system for the next bull run, and I do plan on building my bags up around about the $4.50 level. So yeah, not a hater, just looking at things logically, Solana is very likely to come down to this $5 region / $4.50. $5 because this is a psychological level, $4.50 because this is where the most amount of volume has been accumulated in the markets. And there is also a VPVR down at $1.90, but I'm not convinced that we're going to make it down there yet. Let's take things one price target at a time. Let's see what happens when we come down to 450. And wrapping up the video, I wanted to talk about another warning sign. This is a pretty big warning sign, and this is really telling you, hey, you know, Solana's maybe not the best thing to be in right now. And there are a few reasons for this. Now, quite recently, of course, let's start off on the Bitcoin pair, actually. We talked about this on the channel. In the higher time frames, if we look at these two Fibonacci swing lows up to the swing high, pricing Solana against Bitcoin, you can see that we've got a double 786 Fibonacci on the Solana BTC pair. We've retested this, and it's looking like we're getting ready to break down. On Solana against Ethereum, you can see since the 1st of November 2021, you shouldn't have really been holding Solana. I always say this on my channel, do not hold altcoins in a bear market. If you're going to hold something, hold Bitcoin, because as you can see, this is basically, all of the altcoin BTC pairs. Bitcoin outperforms altcoins in a bear market. Altcoins outperform Bitcoin in a bull market. That's how this thing works. So if you're holding altcoins in a bear market, you're very, very likely to just kiss 95, 99% of your portfolio goodbye. Whereas if you're holding Bitcoin, you might only experience a 70% drop. Ideally, if you can avoid all of that, it's best. But in general, holding altcoins in a bear market is not a good idea. Now you can see, even though that's the case, we've got Ethereum and MATIC. These are two Solana competitors. Now, it is arguable whether Solana is an Ethereum competitor or whether Ethereum is a Solana competitor. I say Ethereum is also a Solana competitor, even though I much prefer Solana. I'm really not a big fan of Ethereum whatsoever. In fact, it's probably one of the few projects that I genuinely actually dislike. But with that being said, Ethereum is heavily outperforming Solana. You can see Solana has been getting battered against this trend line priced against Ethereum. And quite recently, MATIC has come out and kind of proved itself to be a big competitor against Solana. You're seeing a lot of the biggest NFT projects over on the Solana ecosystem. They're leaving and they're moving to Polygon, like DGods and Utes NFT. I do believe more will follow in the future. So this is why, coming into the next bull run, I do actually plan to position myself in both MATIC and Solana, because while I don't really talk about MATIC on my channel whatsoever, because I prefer Solana, MATIC is something I'm starting to have my eyes on. Now, what do you really need to see to start positioning yourself back into Solana? Because, the MATIC NFT space is taking over the Solana NFT space. The, Solana Ethereum pair is not looking good. Solana BTC pair is not looking good. Solana USD pair is not looking good. I would like to see Solana US dollar come down to $5 before I start accumulating. I would like to see Solana BTC eventually at some point in the next cycle, when it's time to start positioning back into alts. I would like to see these alts, and specifically Solana, break out of this Bitcoin trend line. As soon as that happens, I'm very happy to enter back in the market. I would also like to see Solana start to outperform Ethereum, which I do not think it will do in a bear market, but I think it will do in the next bull run. So when the time comes, I do think Solana will break out against Ethereum, and this re-entry round about this trend line before the next move up is something that's definitely going to be good. And of course, I would like to see both MATIC and Solana do well, because these are two cryptocurrencies which I do plan on getting into. But let's say you don't like MATIC and you just want to get into Solana. You would really want to see this trend line break, and you'd want to see Solana once again break out against MATIC, because right now Ethereum and MATIC are stealing market share from Solana, especially in the NFT space, where MATIC is doing very, very well as of recently. So for today, my friends, that is all I've got. As always, if you do enjoy the content, let me know down below by leaving a like and a comment. Share the videos with your friends, and also if you want more of my posts, charts, memes, and economic data, be sure to come and follow me over on Twitter at 618_cowboy. Also, once again, please remember, while I am bearish on this cryptocurrency, it is one of my favorite altcoins. In fact, I would argue it is one of my favorite altcoins. My YouTube profile pic and my Twitter profile pic are both Solana NFTs, and I do plan on positioning myself back into this ecosystem very, very soon, although I am already heavily in the NFT ecosystem for Solana. So for today, that's all I've got. It's been your boy Cowboy Trades. I'm out. Peace.